Waif, the Ephemeral Being EP review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this latest EP from Waif, her first in a few years. And Nandi's music, I mean, it is something that I very deeply respect. Her early works like Kotekan, Probable Depths as well. I mean, these albums, maybe weren't perfect to me, but her sound, that, very deep, synthy, very ethereal sound is something that really clicked with me. I thought that she was onto something, which she very clearly was. When she dropped her Lavender record a few years later, it ended up being one of my top 20 albums of the year. It surprised even me with how much I loved it. Now, I did think The Caretaker, which came out about a year after, was a little bit of a backstep for Nandi, but with Mythopoetics over here, she put out not only just her best album, but one of the best synth pop records of the last few years. I mean, God, this is just such quality art pop, and tracks like Swimmer and Party's Over were some of my favorites of the year. Now, it has been a few years, and Nandi has put out this EP. She announced it about 2 weeks ago, and for the most part, she sounds like she's really pushing herself here. Not in a bad way either. No, it's actually pretty exciting little EP, albeit very short. Big Dipper, this was the only single she dropped from the EP, and it did take me a little while to kind of warm up to. But after a few listens, it did eventually click with me. It does have that very quiet intensity of Waif's music. It's far from heavy in the sense of the word, but I mean the pounding, patient drums and the shimmering synths, that's all I need. Her vocals also sound absolutely angelic. Guitars also in the background just add a little grit. Like I said, far from heavy, but just a little to keep things interesting. The good vibes of this track are intoxicating. Heartwood, on the other hand, is one of the more experimental and wordy cuts from Nandi that I've ever heard. It's one of the weirder ones as well, and it took me a little while to warm up to, but it really is beautiful. While very intense and visual and commanding, the shimmering atmosphere and the glorious harmonies behind her bring everything together. It's beautiful, and by the end, it's kaleidoscopic even. Ephemeral Being, this EP's title track, once again shows Nandi really pushing herself. And I am so happy to hear that. I love the woozy synths on this track. And yes, there's a lot of auto-tune on this track. This is Nandi going for the auto-tune. And yeah, it's a lot of vocal effects, especially out of nowhere. She goes from 0 to 100 on this track, and that might be a lot to swallow. But she kind of melds it with this very woozy, ethereal instrumental, and it's pretty damn intoxicating. It's definitely a very new sound for her, but man, does it ever work. And Dreaming of Bears, as a finale, this is also really exciting. This is, once again, Nandi pushing herself. This is almost 5 minutes, and about 3.5 of those are completely instrumental. It's also really dark and intense in points, which is something I did not expect to hear. And there's such a serious drama to it that I'm actually really happy that most of this track is instrumental. It's really easy to get lost in it. When everything does pop in the final moments, it is gargantuan sounding. This is a sound that I would love to hear her do more with. Also, the chanting, that's money. Now, I will say this, there is one very big blip on my radar, and that is the intro here. Yeah, the service track. I mean, hearing this as an intro to this EP really let me down. This is one of the more boring tracks from Nandi I've ever heard. I mean, there's nothing wrong with her vocals. They're gorgeous. They often are. But everything else about this track just doesn't show up to the dance. These backing vocals take away more than they actually add to this track. And I don't know what it is about this melody, but a lot of this track seems seriously phoned in, dare I say lazy. Yeah, that's kind of really upsetting to say, but outside of that, this EP is on fire, and Nandi's really pushing herself here. And that's very exciting to me, because she's already one of the more interesting names in art pop right now. But whatever she's cooking up right now, she sounds like she's really getting into some freaky, weirder sounds, and I can't wait to see how they continue going forward. I'm feeling a strong 7 on this EP, but let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.